Hey, my name is Jens and welcome to a new video. Today we got a huge amount of fresh photography ideas you can try at home. But before we start, I just want to say thank you. We reached 15,000 subscribers, which is an incredible number. Thank you for that. Let's go. Okay, let's start with one of my favorite images. This image looks so colorful and unrealistic. You might think that it's made with Photoshop, right? But it's not even post-processed. You just need a DVD, add some water droplets, and then you have to move a torch around the DVD. To position the droplets, I used a dropper. The more droplets, the greater the effect. Then you just need to mount your camera on the tripod and set the exposure between 10 and 20 seconds. Those amazing colors are created by the reflections between the torch and the DVD. I really like the results. You should really try that. And if you like this image, maybe you want to bring this image to the next level by using a turntable. Then you can add some hotspots and highlights by a flickering torch or a flash. The white structures you can see on this image are created because the rotation table is turning while I was moving with the torch around the DVD. The next 4 or 5 images are all created just with water and candy. To get the best result, I would recommend to use M&M with peanuts inside, because those candy have the thickest sugar layer. And then just get creative. Put it on a plate, add some water, put it on a Petri inside a fish tank for example, and film and photograph how the candy is dissolving. To get this nice clean black background, I have put the Petri on a glass plate with a huge distance between Petri and the background. Then I illuminated from the top and the background remained completely black. Use different candy to get different colorful effects. Pretty incredible, right? Okay, before we move on, I have a small announcement to make. I'm working on a Q&A video. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me via Facebook, Instagram, or use the comment section and send me your questions. Let's move on. The next image I'm going to show you is pretty advanced because I used molten lead and I tried to film the explosion of molten lead underwater. Therefore, of course, we have to melt some lead. I used some fishing lead here, and then I've put it into a water tank. And because the sequence where the lead explodes underwater is so short, I have taken some high-speed footage just to show you what is happening underwater. And now you just have to try and error and hope to catch the right moment. I know this kind of photography is really pretty difficult because we need extremely fast shutter speeds and a lot of light. So I would recommend to use a flash, and we also need a macro lens here. Now it's getting a little bit psychedelic. Try to take an image of a soap bubble blower. Maybe you'd say, this looks pretty boring. And I must admit, you're completely right. But when we adjust the angle and add light using a torch or softbox, those psychedelic colors appear. And that is not too boring. Yeah, that's a pretty simple image, but it can look very interesting. Are you still there? I got a quiz for you. Can you guess what this might be? Well, you cannot eat it. If you guessed it right, leave a comment below and you will get a thumb up. The upcoming images are one of the best images I have ever taken, in my opinion, and it is pretty easy to recreate them. Just have a look here. Now you just have to mount a string to your sparkler and move the sparkler around the object. I prefer using a lens ball on a mirror, but of course you can use a glass of whiskey, a lens, your favorite toy item, whatever. Just get creative and use the sparkler to create those really nice sparkling rings around your object. Let's stick with the lens ball and the mirror for a moment. For this image, I used my smartphone to paint behind and before the glass ball. Pretty simple, pretty cool result. The great thing about this kind of light painting is that the varieties are endless. Just Google for some colorful backgrounds and see what you can get. Those lens balls are really not too expensive. If you don't have one, maybe you want to change this right now. I have spent a lot of time taking those images, and I will keep improving this kind of photography. For this image I used a quite similar technique as I used with the sparkler. I just replaced the sparkler with a bottle and a light chain inside, and then I moved the bottle around the glass sphere and the result looks like this. Pretty cool. And it is time for another quiz. Can you guess what this might be? If you guessed it right, you know what to do. Leave a comment below and you get your thumbs up. The next image I'm going to show you is really amazing. You just need a bird feeder and a balcony. Mount your bird feeder somewhere, set your camera on a tripod, go to manual focus and focus the bird feeder. When some birds are coming around, just fire with a burst mode and get sure to use really high shutter speeds. Don't get disappointed when there are no hummingbirds around. I'm sure you will find some birds and get some cool images. Are you interested in macro photography? Any idea what this might be? Even an orange can look pretty interesting from the macro perspective. Or this one. I'm pretty sure that you already have this kind of stuff on your pizza. That's actually a mushroom. When I was looking for new photography ideas you can try at home, I was taking images of everything I could find in my fridge, and that's one of my favorite images here. When you do macro, just get sure that you close the aperture and, if possible, use a flash and a flash diffuser. I have some tutorials on my YouTube channel if you want to learn more about macro photography or how to create a flash diffuser. Now it's getting really colorful again. I have mixed milk with acrylic paints. Then I've just added some movement to the mixture and that's the result. You should give that a try. Adding oil or dishwashing liquid will also create a pretty cool effect. Now we're switching from photography to time-lapse photography. I had a basil which looked like this because I forgot to give it some water for a couple of days. And then I used a time-lapse and added some water and that's the result. Can you believe that I took this time-lapse just over a period of 3 hours? That basil is really recovering very fast. Talking of time-lapse, maybe this is interesting for you when you do a Christmas home video, for example. Have you ever tried to take an image of a lighter? If not, I'm going to show you what is going to happen when you pull a lighter. I'd use f8 and the 200th of a second. Yeah, and I think there were really a couple of nice frames. Just get sure to close the aperture and use a low ISO number. Or what about fire photography? I'm going to show you an example. This footage was taken with about 10,000 frames a second. To get this nice black background, I just have increased the distance between the fire, the spray and the background. And then I have also used a softbox illuminating the spray and that's the result. Pretty cool. Okay, and I got one more time lapse for you. Here I filmed, or I took images, how seeds grow. Maybe you're wondering where the rotation is coming from. Therefore, I have not used an ordinary turntable. I have used a star tracker, which does 1 rotation per day. And if you want to earn your thumb, I got another quiz for you. What is this? Any idea? Could you figure it out? Okay, let's move on. For the next image, I have turned my drone, my Mavic 2, on fire. This looks pretty horrible for the drone, but actually it's not. To get an image like this, I have set lighter fuel on fire, which creates a very short but bright fireball. So there's no damage taken by the drone and you can get some pretty cool, interesting images. If you know my YouTube channel, you probably know that I'm totally into bubble photography. I have taken a billion images of different bubbles, different size, different suspensions. I've used so washing up liquid, glycerin, water, mixed everything together and got totally different results. If you want to learn how I took those images, I have made like 4 or 5 videos already on my YouTube channel. So if you want to learn more about bubble photography, I'm going to paste some links into the description of this video. What do you think about bubble photography? Will you give those psychedelic images a try? I really like it and I think you should really try that. I'm sorry that I did not go too much into detail describing the settings and the setup, but I wanted to focus on the number, on the amount of images. So then the chance is higher that there are some cool ideas which you might want to try, right? And if you have any questions to a specific image, feel free to ask. I will answer every comment as always, and maybe I have already created a video describing how I took this image. Thanks for watching the video till the end. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Have a good day and stay healthy.